Okay, I want to just kind of have a little. First of all, I apologize for this python around my neck. Hopefully, that doesn't freak you out. We can get past that. First of all, in this video, I just want to talk about metaphysics and modal logic. There's lots of, different, I guess, things that can be discussed between modal logic and metaphysics. For one, we have David Lewis. David Lewis was a great metaphysician who really had he had a book. I can't remember the title of it, but it was about modality and about possible worlds. In metaphysics, when we talk about modality, we're talking about possible worlds. We're talking about the issue of whether something could be the case in a possible world. And I plan on doing some metaphysics of modality on this channel at some point this year. Because I have quite a few books on metaphysics that I want to use as a text for my videos, I guess. But she's leaving. She tries to leave, and that's just kind of. Anyway, in this video, I just kind of want to do like a little primer on this. First of all, let's talk about basically what modal logic is. Modal logic is a kind of logic that was developed in the 1960s by people such as Saul Kripke. If you read one of his papers it was like he was very young when he wrote this. He was like basically right out of high school. It was a completeness theorem in modal logic, I believe the paper was called. It's a very complex paper. But it is very, very, very interesting if you can get your head around it. Modal logic is basically the logic that has to do with the introduction of two new operators, mostly just two. Two new operators having to do with necessity and possibility. For instance, this, if you see, I know it's kind of dark in here, but if you can maybe see these here, this little box here, that box means necessary or necessity. This one here is a little axiom that is from the system T in modal logic. There are various systems that come from various axioms that are basically talking about, what. Basically, what is the same thing as saying it is necessary that A, in this book, for instance, this is Introductory Modal Logic by Dick. This is a great resource here. It goes from various systems. It not only has a primer on basic symbolic logic at first, but it actually goes into not only, it goes through all the axioms and all the various systems, even S6 and S7, but there's a few, 4 or 5 axioms that are basic for modal logic. And then the first 3 are basically regular. And I guess in this book he refers to this one I have here as system T. Basically, he goes on to S4 and S5, and has and he has lots of really good info in here. And he also does go into he goes into Kripke, he goes into the actual metaphysics of possible worlds. And then, okay, basically what is meant by necessity is if A is necessary, then it cannot be other than that. It's if it is necessary that A, as this box signifies, then it cannot be other than that. It cannot be other than the fact that A. And this little axiom here is part of system T according to Dick, which means that if A is necessary, then basically A. Possibility, on the other hand, is signified by this diamond, and I'm not going to introduce any axioms of possibility for the sake of time and complexity. Possibility is just saying that if you see that little diamond, that just is saying that A is, it's possible that A. Actually, I can think of an axiom here. If A is possible, then it is not necessary that not A. This is actually the axiom, or one of the axioms. If A is possible, then it is not necessary that not A. That's supposed to be box, so it's kind of messed up. These are tildes, by the way. That's the symbol I use. Some people use this symbol here, this little tilde, but I use these things. If A is possible, then it is not necessary that not A. That's one of the axioms. If you want a really good introductory lectures on modal logic, go to Dr. Jason J. Campbell's channel, and he has lots of really good lectures on logic, and he has 5 of them that are introductory on modal logic. If you want to just kind of get your head around some of this, then that is a really good thing. He teaches you the first 5 axioms, and kind of he's very introductory about it. He's trying to make the knowledge accessible, as he says. So basically, what and I'm kind of thinking about a lot of metaphysics and logic together as to what as to what ontology someone commits to by having a certain logic that they use, or various connectives and operators that they use. So I guess when we use these symbols, we're kind of thinking about this little distinction between necessity and possibility, and we're thinking about possible worlds, basically. And if you want to kind of read on that, I would suggest going towards David Lewis. David Lewis. Let me see if I can't. I'm sure that Dick has the thing in here. Trying to get the name of the writing. Okay. Oh yeah. Then if you want about modal logic, then you should go to Lewis, C.I. Lewis, Kripke, and various others. In this, he uses Lewis's writing Counterpart Theory and Quantified Modal Logic, but he has a whole book about it that I cannot for the life of me remember. If you're familiar with any kind of metaphysics, you're familiar with the idea of possibility or possible worlds. And that kind of has to do with, like, for instance, when I think about possible worlds, I'm kind of thinking about like, I guess I'm not so versed in that as I am in philosophy of religion, and one person who thinks about possible worlds in his philosophy of religion is Robin Collins. He uses abductive reasoning towards saying that it is more likely that a God created this world via fine-tuning in a more scientific version of the teleological argument for God's existence. And pretty much he says he uses the atheistic single universe and the atheistic many universe hypotheses, and just kind of goes about this by saying he kind of actually gives various scientific facts that it kind of shows about that how this world was fine-tuned, how, like, if the atmospheric pressures and all that stuff were just a little bit different, this would not be an adequate atmosphere for life. And that was kind of like a dartboard. Somebody aiming for a dartboard and hitting the bullseye, thus a god doing that, or somebody turning the dials just to be perfect for that. And he uses the idea of a possible world for that. So I'm just kind of thinking about this stuff here about, you know, a possible world, and just kind of, you know, what exactly using a logic means. What are we committing ourselves to when we're using a certain logic? Anyway, this is kind of a little intro thing about it. I'm definitely going to be going into various things on metaphysics of possible worlds soon. That's, you know, possibly, you know, I have quite a few books on metaphysics that I want to, you know, use to, because I really want to start this year on talking about modality in metaphysics and possible worlds and such. Thanks.